A biblical perspective on life, culture and current events. This is 2020 on Vision.
Let's turn our attention to Christian school teachers. And do you know, they are being celebrated more and more. The value of pursuing a career as a Christian school teacher is on the rise. And that might be because people are fighting to get their kids into Christian schools. In fact, Christian schools are bursting at the seams, and there's a need for a whole lot more of them. And at a time when discipline issues are challenging, when anxiety and mental health are in the headlines regularly, you might be saying, well, who's on duty at the Christian school? Well, a privilege once again today to be back with James Matthews, a dedicated educator from Belgrave Heights Christian School in Victoria. He's the winner of this year's Christian Teacher of the Year award. He was selected by an expert judging panel of teachers around Australia. And as an award winner, he's back with us. Hey, James, welcome back to 2020.
Hi, Neil. Great to be here again, speaking with you.
James, you know, just to hear your heartbeat for a few moments here, because these days the number of male teachers teaching in schools everywhere seems to be on the decline, and the pursuit of being a Christian school teacher, because there's something in your heart that says, I've got a responsibility to step up with my gift. I wonder if you've got any thoughts around your own motivations for being a Christian school teacher.
Thank you, Neil. It's a great question, and it's really on my heart that the people start thinking about getting into Christian education. As you know, there's a shortage of school teachers and a bit of a shortage of Christian school teachers, and as you said, male Christian school teachers. And I'm thinking now is the time to get in. The reason being is this is the place in this day and age you can speak about Jesus. You can impact lives by demonstrating who Jesus is through your life, and you can get in and day to day explain the gospel of Jesus to these students. It's amazing.
You are a walking, talking embodiment of what it is to be a Christian leader. And, your recent award clearly demonstrates that, you're walking the walk and talking the talk as well. So congratulations to you on that. Hey, families are impressed clearly with Christian schools, because people who have even got a non-Christian background are sending their kids to Christian schools, sometimes because they say it's the values that we want to instill in our children. But how do you reflect on families, even though they're not church families, that they're sending their kids to Christian schools?
Yeah, well, our school here, Belgrave Heights Christian School, is an open enrollment school. We take anyone who's happy to enroll their student here. We have a waiting list for students, and often we're at full capacity, and often families miss out because so many families want to be in our school. Now, when parents choose to enroll their child in our school, they have to tick off that they're happy for them to hear about Jesus. And in our school, we have all our students every single day, hopefully in every lesson, hearing something about what Jesus has done for them. So this, I believe, is well accepted because we have a waiting list, but also the feedback we are getting is that our children are changing. Our children are changing because your school for the better, and that is the best thing.
Now, there are stories, aren't there, of people in your community who are singing the praises, in some sense, of your school, and they're saying, hey, you need to get some of these values that you are embodying in school into schools everywhere. Now, you as an environmental studies teacher, you're specifically really just focusing on kids and getting them outdoors, detaching them from those digital devices that are so addictive and getting them into an environment where they can appreciate the creative God that we serve. What sort of stories are you hearing from people in the community who recognise something special is happening in your school?
So we deal, as the environmental studies teacher, I deal with the local nursery to get native and Indigenous plants to plant along our creek bed that we have here at Belgrave Heights Christian School, which is a great blessing. And we've been dealing with the nursery for many years. And when we first started dealing with the nursery, he was very apprehensive of us as Christians. And in my recent meeting with him, discussing the different plants we need to plant around the school to bolster the ecosystems here, he said, "I don't know what you're doing, but what you are doing here at this school, other Christian schools need to learn from, because you take care of the environment in an amazing way. You seek expert advice, and your students are incredible to be involved in this. They are incredible representatives of our community in taking care of our creek." And that was just an example of different people who we interact with around the community. It's amazing to hear these stories from time to time.
And isn't it a significant thing that children in particular are very environmentally minded, sometimes because they've been heavily influenced by almost a woke agenda around climate change, but to have a Christian and perhaps a biblically based idea of how we are to be stewards and care for the environment, how do you fit all of that into some of the extremes that you might hear of as a school teacher?
That's really interesting. Like, I was talking to a class today. We just finished planting about 80 plants along a new embankment to bolster that embankment and do a whole bunch of other environmental things. Anyway, I just said to them, look, Jesus is going to come back and he's going to make all this a million times better. But what we're doing in waiting for him to come back is we're redeeming this land just like he's going to do. We are doing the work of Jesus as we're planting all these plants here. So you've done a great thing today, students. And it was just brilliant to see their faces brighten, that they could participate in helping their environment and redeeming that land.
Some people might be shying away from a career as a Christian school teacher. This is something you've obviously embraced wholeheartedly. Do you come across people in your travels and in your social circles of people who say, "Oh no, I don't think it's a good time to be a teacher right now"? Is there something that you share into those sorts of conversations that turn around people and they get a better concept of what it is to be a Christian school teacher and the value of what you do?
Yeah, so that I was that guy. I came to teaching as a mature student. I got to 35 and our first child was born, my wife and I, and after 2 months of that beautiful girl being born, I realized, you know what, I really need to become a teacher. I need to be involved with kids again. I need to impact people's lives in a positive sense. And basically, I found that all my thoughts about about being a teacher and taking care of ratbag kids and it being really stressful and you being having claims against you from the community and all this sort of stuff, all those fears, which are real fears, drifted away because the goal of impacting people's lives, I became so much more focused on completing that goal. And so when I started teaching, I started standing in front of my first classes. I was like, what are my worries about? I'm here. I can guide this class. I can give them a good message. I can give them hope. And when I realized that's what it was about, those fears subsided.
And in a Christian school, not only are you a school teacher, teaching the reading, writing, arithmetic and environmental studies in your case, but you've got this wonderful opportunity, haven't you, to role model those values of your Christian faith, and those kids are going to remember you for the rest of their lives. And they're going to remember all of those characteristics, those qualities and the wise things you share and say into their hearts and lives, and it's going to make a huge difference. You know, it's a privilege talking to you, James, and I think, you might be an inspiration for a whole bunch of people listening to our conversation now to get back on the bike and pursue a career as a Christian school teacher, because as you say, the opportunities are endless. And when you can talk about Jesus in the classroom, that will help to shape the culture and character of those children. James Matthews is a teacher at the Belgrave Heights Christian School in Victoria. He was selected by an expert judging panel from teachers around Australia to win the Christian Teacher of the Year award for this year. And James, special congratulations on that once again, but thanks so much for inspiring words about Christians pursuing a career as a Christian school teacher.
No worries. Thank you so much, Neil, for the opportunity to talk about it.
Thanks for taking time to listen to this audio on demand from Vision Christian Media. To find out more about us, go to vision.org.au.